by authoritarian dictators like Napoleon. ID cards were introduced to Britain during the Second World War. Churchill regretted taking our dearly valued liberties and promised to scrap them once the war was over, but he lost the post-war election before he could, and the incoming Labour government kept them on. The information on the cards shot up, and police began to demand them from people at random. In 1950, Harry Wilcock, an ordinary man from Leeds, took a stand. The police ordered him to show his ID card, but he refused and said, "I am a Liberal and I'm against this sort of thing." He was arrested, but fought his case to the highest court in the land. And as the cards were so hated, he became a national hero. The judge ruled that to demand an ID card from all and sundry has turned law-abiding citizens into law breakers. The government abolished the cards and gave the nation back its privacy. In Rwanda, the Belgian colonial government introduced ID cards to split up the native Tutsi and Hutu tribes by their physical differences. In 1994, the country devoured itself as the Hutus mercilessly attacked the Tutsis. An ID card marked Tutsi would get you killed at any roadblock. As everyone had an ID card, it made the genocide incredibly efficient, and nearly 1 million lives were taken in only 100 days. The secret police in Soviet East Germany had a file on every man, woman and child, with their history from the cradle to the grave, which were used as a means of control. They couldn't computerize these records, as they didn't have the technology. If they had, it would look like the National Identity Register.
There are distinct advantages in a national identity scheme that could not just help us disrupt terrorists and criminals.
The fact that there was a biometric identity card system in place in Spain did not prevent the Madrid bombings.
We know the bombers were very careful to carry ID. Mohammed Sadiq Khan actually gave his ID to 3 of the other bombers to carry and made sure it was found at the scene.
The card or the record doesn't have, terrorist stamped on it in yellow. These are just people.
Mohammed Atta showed a perfectly valid passport when he got on board that flight which he later flew into the World Trade Center.
We therefore here in Britain stand shoulder to shoulder with our American friends in this hour of tragedy.
Thank you, please. Thank you.
Whatever I like, if it's wrong or right, it's all right.
Iraq has chemical and biological weapons, which could be activated within 45 minutes.
Never ever marched before. I've never been on a march before.
I just felt as though all of a sudden we were on a roller coaster and I didn't want to be on it.
A war would create more anger and frustration between the Muslims and the West.
The kaleidoscope has been shaken. The pieces are in flux. Soon they will settle again. Before they do, let us reorder this world around us.
The day after the July 7th bombings, the Sun newspaper demanded that potentially innocent people should be locked up in internment camps.
They decide every time there's a bomb, they've got to show they're taking action, they're tough.
The Sun continued to demand action, so Tony Blair responded by trying to tear up one of our oldest liberties. He announced that he would give the police the power to detain you without charge for 3 months.
Stunning. After what had happened over Ireland, wrongful convictions with full jury trials.
In 1974, the IRA bombed 2 pubs in Birmingham, killing 21 people. The Birmingham Six had confessions beaten out of them in police custody. It took them 16 years to prove their innocence.
To suggest that you can hold someone for questioning for 90 days, I still can't believe that they seriously did it.
Secondly, in respect to the 90 days, the reason we are putting this forward is because the police tell us that they believe such a power is necessary to prevent terrorist acts.
Interestingly, the police justification was, we have a problem here because most of the defendants we arrest stay silent, and a lot of the period is used up with them praying, and they're represented by the same solicitor, so it's very difficult for us to have a good period of time with them. And we feel they're just on the cusp of telling us something, and we have to release them. So if we have them for 90 days, it'll be much easier, basically, to crack them. That's what they're on about.
On the day of the Commons vote, the Sun put a bomb victim on the front page and insisted the law be changed.
They used the photograph of Professor John Tulloch, who is an expert, as it turns out, in media manipulation of images.
There I am, and I'm not, of course, asked by the Sun. The Sun, like a number of tabloids, takes a totally populist view about being for the people, but they don't manage even to ask the person they use. I was totally opposed to that legislation.
I'm no doubt where the country is on this. The country will think that Parliament has behaved in a deeply irresponsible way today. I've got no doubt about that at all.
The ayes to the right, 291. The noes to the left, 322.
For the first time since he came to power, Tony Blair lost a vote in the House of Commons. But he still managed to increase the pre-charge detention to 28 days.
We are not living in a police state.
Police are searching a house in East London now.
This was a huge police operation involving nearly 250 officers.
Chemical device.
The 2 men detained are believed to be brothers.
The intelligence was such that it demanded an intensive response.
A few months after the police were given these new powers, they received a random tip-off about a bomb factory in London. So 250 armed police investigated. During the raid, they shot one of the suspects.
I heard a loud bang, and it was a big flash.
I see blood coming down my chest, and then I see the hole in my chest.
I realised that my own brother got shot for no reason. They tried to murder my brother.
I've been in his house. There ain't no bomb factory. He's got a living room just like everyone else's living room.
On this occasion, it seems we were wrong.
While the brothers were detained under the new limit, a smear campaign began against them. After a week, they were released without charge.
The raid itself, I am perfectly content, was justified, and the operation was one which was carried out extremely well by the Metropolitan Police.
Who knows, it might have been me next.
That makes me angry. It makes me realise that we can't trust the government, we can't trust the police.
Under political pressure to generate results, the police will inevitably target the wrong people. The longer you can be detained before charge, the greater the injustice when mistakes are made.